all homeschool.
Because you can't get anywhere.
No.
You either have to walk or take a gondola, and the gondolas are, they have motorboats and stuff. How are you gonna get your
You
kid?
take the Vaporini or whatever, the water factories?
My friend
Yeah,
had
but
her second baby,
I took that from the boat to the link to the airport. But,
babies in a row.
We took them everywhere.
When she gets home from the hospital.
well, let me put it this way. There's no room to build them either, a school. Because we stayed in an apartment, a 4-bedroom apartment with Airbnb. And it was like, the place looked like it was in the 1500s. Okay? And they said you can only repair stuff, you can't remodel.
Right,
Because they want to keep that architecture.
right. Did you do, you went to Santorini?
Yes.
Did you walk from the top
Yeah.
down or the bottom up?
We took a bus going up and took the cable car going down.
Cable.
Cable,
We walked.
good for you. I wanted to avoid the donkey shit.
2 until 6.
It wasn't any.
Yeah,
It's all cleaned up.
the donkeys that they use, you gotta avoid. One of the things they did say, listen, when you're on the Acropolis and we're in Ephesus ruins, he says, pay attention to where you're walking because you will go down. If you're like talking to your friend behind you and stuff like that. And while we were there, 2 people went down. Not in our group, but somebody just legs up in the air falling
You
because
watch where you're walking.
you're on slick marble.
I was there, I think, 2 years ago, maybe? Yeah. One of those cruises I did. I don't do the Caribbean.
Did you hear about Nielsen? Nielsen? Nielsen. How? Sunpet.
Really?
Yeah, Joe just told me.
Yeah, 41 years old. The funeral was last week. Yeah, it was terrible.
What happened?
I'm not really sure they found him in the house.
Was John on his cruise this week?
No.
Right on time, huh?
You beat the clock.
It's been my thing lately.
Look early to me.
Perfect. Oh, TV's came back.
Thank you for this, Cindy. Thank you for printing your little heart out.
Thought you liked trees.
Trees are a renewable resource.
Put on the earth just for you.
I love trees.
All right, I've got 7 o'clock.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Cindy. Here.
Rebecca Anderson.
Here.
John Fotis.
Here.
Anthony Worski.
Here.
Joseph Keith.
Here.
Lawrence Korzenowski.
Here.
Michael Wright.
Here.
Okay, well, I guess I don't have to go through the ramp. little introduction because there's nobody here. We all know that this is a meeting of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. We will take a look at the meeting minutes from October 1st. And ask if there's any changes, modifications that need to be made. Okay, look for a motion then.
I'll move we approve it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. All right, moving on. We've got our communications list. Okay. We'll move on to the main event. We are here for one item and one item only. That's for the discussion on a positive declaration process. The planning board has been identified as an interested agency, and we'll discuss the planning board's responsibilities and timelines for the process. Looking hopefully to have an interactive discussion here with our attorney's office, engineer, and code enforcement officer, code enforcement official, to make sure that we're all on the same page. We do have a project that will be coming for us. Actually, that is in front of us already. Windsor Ridge South. There were 4 members on the board, on the current board, that were here the first time it was through, and 3 of us were not on the board at the time. So hopefully we'll all get up to speed and be able to understand what our responsibilities are. Make sure that, again, that we are all on the same page. Cindy, I don't know how we're gonna. Did you want to?
Well, the chapter 6 is our secret speaking. So it is a document that Ed had shared with me, and basically going through that process. So even for myself, like something very new to me, going through a POS. So scoping defines the contents of the draft EIS and concerns to be addressed. So right now, what has been, what would be submitted after a POS deck is issued by the Town of Lancaster on an application would first come in as a draft scoping document. So within those contents is actually items that they are proposing that they are going to supply. And those items are going to hopefully add the information that the boards have reviewed and give them a better understanding as to safe traffic, as to possible an ERPA. Those questions are answered then by the additional information. So then what this board would do is actually review those documents that they're proposing to give the town. And then say, that's fine, all of those are necessary, but we also have a question about another section. Maybe it could be water supply or something from the Erie County Sewer. We also notify all of the outside agencies that we normally do during SEEKR so that they are able to say, back in 2019 when we took a look at this, these were our concerns. Maybe something that was a concern to them before is no longer because maybe they've made changes to their system or adjustments have been made. So all of that goes into the scoping, and then the town is on a time frame. frame right now of 60 days, and that time frame started on October 6th. So within that time, the documents need to be reviewed, and then response needs to be made to the project applicant.
And the response is the things that we're going to look for in addition to what's in the document already, correct?
Correct.
Things that we were going to ask the applicant to provide additionally.
So the scope will allow the documents that the project sponsor has said that they will include in the draft EIS, and if the draft scoping is reviewed and it's determined that additional studies and information are required, that information is supplied to the project sponsor to be required in the draft EIS.
If I can add, the other thing that's in the draft scope is typically the review of alternatives. Part of the EIS process is to look at alternatives to what's being proposed. That could be less lots, could be different configuration, could be more access point, it could be whatever it has to be. But that's also will be in the draft, and so again, something the board needs to look at are there other options you want looked at, other alternatives to lessen the impact of the project. So what happens is the applicant provides the draft scoping document, and then the town will take that and turn it into a final scoping document and give it back to them. With those additions, subtractions, whatever, they want to put in it.
Those are based on the findings that were filed in COSDEP?
Partially. Yeah, they have to be included, but you can add to it without a problem, yeah.
Do you have a copy of that document?
Which document?
The one that's on the screen there? Yeah, specific housekeeping? And outlines the time frame and everything that's involved, right?
Going back to this document, according to this, the town of Lancaster, town board issued a positive declaration on January 17, 2019, determined that the proposed action may include potentially significant environmental impacts to land surface, erosion and water table, flooding, floodplain drainage patterns, and traffic, pedestrian and bicycle accommodations.
Yeah, that's what the original
Right.
findings were. And, the other involved agencies being DEC, Army Corps, Erie County Water, Erie County Sewer, Erie County Planning. It's probably, I think those are the other involved agencies. They may come back with other issues they want addressed.
Well, relative to that, Army Corps has made some changes to their wetlands,
So it's the state.
so that's
Yeah.
clearly going to be.
Has been stayed.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so they have the option to come back and say, we want this included, everywhere else.
Yeah, so the boundary,
It's already,
So notified today were DEC, DOT, Army Corps of Engineers, Erie County Water Authority, then Erie County Department of Public Works, Environment and Planning, Department of Health, Sewer, and then also New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, Historic Preservation, because that was one of the comments also they had about their SHPO. So those were all notified today with the document that was supplied by the project sponsor. And then that gives them the opportunity also now to give us, to identify what they were looking for, or to let us know what has changed since 2019. Doesn't look at the, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't look at the subdivision, like as for,
Details.
whether it complies or anything, but it looks at those environmental issues that in 2019 were important enough to issue a positive declaration on it and to say we need to stop and gather more information to make sure that this is not a deterrent.
Within that 60 days, there will be, in addition to what's on the screen, what was on the screen, there is going to be a public hearing that's going to have to be had.
Yes, so there is a resolution possibly on the town board meeting Monday night that would then turn the public hearing over to the planning board. We're not sure though if it met the deadline for notification in the Lancaster Bee. So if it did not, it would not be at the November 5th meeting, but it would be at the November 19th meeting. And it would be here at with the planning board.
And that's still within the 60 days, giving us time to take the comments into consideration as we continue to put together our requirements,
Correct.
additional requirements.
We have until December 5th.
December
first week
5th.
in December.
Then once that's given back to the applicant to write the draft EIS, there is no time frame. They could take a month, they could take 10 years.
Oh, that's right, so, yeah,
It's up to them.
we have to meet the 60-day threshold, or time frame. Sorry. The applicant doesn't have any time frame. Once we give them the requirements, they can take
Whatever they want.
60 days, 90 days, 3 years.
Right, but then when it comes back, then we're back on,
Yeah, we always have a clock, they don't.
right.
Yeah.
So how do I know, do I have the document that says what they were asked to look at?
The draft scope? I don't
So
know.
I emailed everyone the actual, what was given to me from the town clerk. That was the,
That's the draft scope. A letter from GPI with the draft scope attached to it. Yeah.
Is that from the
this was
government?
emailed to everyone.
Oh, that's
So
in my,
now-
that's in my bag, okay. That, no wonder I can't find it.
Guys, I'm sorry,
I have it right here somewhere. It's right at my fingertips somewhere.
So, absolutely, now you tell me what documents would help you in the review process, determining what you're looking for. I did go back in the minutes from 2019 and did find the actual resolutions and the POS deck.
Right.
Yeah.
So at what point do we identify the things that are important to us as the planning board?
I would say you would start identifying those items between now and the public hearing, and then soon after the public hearing, the town will make the summation of what other requirements are going to be added to this scope.
Yeah, one of the things to keep in mind is because of those timeframes that are on the town, they may or may not always coincide with a planning board meeting. So there may be a point in time where stuff's gonna have to be given over outside the meeting, or, during whenever, just to meet those timeframes. Right now, we're okay. I would say if you could come back with comments by the next meeting, it's 2 weeks, that's fine. There's no problem with that.
So this plan from March 12th, 2019, I can use that as a guide for where approximately things are supposed to be? Is this the most current one? This
Does
one?
it have the 195 homes?
Yeah, I think so.
There was one that came in after that had less lots. I remember that. There was a plan that came in with less lots.
That's why she's.
Yeah.
But I asked Ken to give it to us, and he didn't submit it.
No, because I believe they're
Because the document says 195, so they're going back.
going back to the original.
Yeah, so that's it.
So this is,
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
That's where we start.
This is where we start. My first question is, what is the frontage width that they have to meet for the house to go
They have to be
on?
100.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're relying on the original preliminary plat that permitted 75. That's what the POSDEC was issued to.
Right, that's this.
They were asked whether or not they were going to try to continue with that plan or start a new sketch plan with the proper sizing of the lots.
Thank you, I would hope so.
But they didn't. They chose.
But they didn't.
But they chose to stick with the old.
Choosing to go to the 195 again.
Well,
75-foot frontage.
75-foot frontage.
how can they do that?
Can they go for a
They can
variance?
do that, but they'll need variance for the entire subdivision on the lot sizes that are contrary to the code. We have to remember, this is a preliminary plat,
Right,
not a final plat.
right.
All bets lesser off on the code change, in my opinion.
Me too, and I'm.
But we haven't gotten a legal ruling on that yet, have we?
I don't know.
I'm not aware of getting,
Have we? That's a
Code is
legit.
clear.
Okay.
Code is clear.
Okay.
Mike?
So I guess that's what's interesting, is that you're going to still further review seeker based on a preliminary plat then that would need variances, and then that would come after the process of the scoping and the BIS.
the variances. Yeah, that would be after seeker's closed. Because they can't go to zoning until seeker's closed.
Well, then how can we possibly get through seeker with a plan that doesn't impose?
That's what FEIS is for. They have to come in with alternatives, options, you know. I can't answer that until they submit something to look at.
Well, since I started this, were you here, Joe, with the first?
I must have been, but I don't remember.
Well, I remember it.
Thank God somebody does.
I have always had,
Back in phase one?
Where's the document?
Okay. For me.
We live over in that.
I live on the street that they all drive 90 miles an hour on, and now that it's paved, you might be able to hit 100. Little things like, I don't know where we are with the hotel, with all the tree survey and everything that we required, but there was no tree survey in the first phase. And I remember being told that there were shellbark hickory. If there are shellbark hickory on this project, DEC will want to know because it ups the quality of the wetlands and expands their jurisdiction a little bit, or their intensity of their look, I'd say. And I think we're going to need a tree survey.
Seems like we got our first requirement.
We're going to need a tree survey similar or as good as the one from the hotel, because I thought that tree survey followed the standards.
Yeah.
I read the standard and I said, yeah, here's this page and all this stuff. So I think that's very important.
Yeah,
And
those
of
are, those are the comments that we need to go back to them at the end and say, here's what's got to be included.
The other thing was that one of the lot developers I was talking with, just as a neighbor, said, yeah, we got these really, really different shellbark hickories on these properties, and he says, I don't really know what it means, but I said, oh, I wonder if the DEC knows about that, and I worked there at the time, and I wasn't allowed to do anything with the DEC, because I was on the planning board. So I didn't say a word, but I had someone else call, and by the time they came to look at them, they'd all been cut down. And they were supposed to be left. I mean, that's the type of irritation that I have in the back of my throat from this project. But the other issue is traffic. And when phase one started, the speed limit on Lake Avenue was either 40 or 45. And they were just crazy. And I will say that one of the mitigations that they've already used was they petitioned the town to get the speed limit down to 35. I'm the only one who proposed 35, but... Okay, there's two. But anyway, it's a big piece of property. Oh, my other question was, did they resolve the issue with school districts? Because it was in two. At one time, it was both Iroquois and Lancaster school districts. So that needs to be verified.
Who's right across the street, right? You
There
live
were
on the
houses-
street?
The line went right through the houses in the backyard. They were asked the two school districts if one or the other would give up jurisdiction, preferably Iroquois, because they'd have to send up us all the way around. Because I think Homewood, or is it Homewood Place or Homewood that's off of Clinton Street? I think that's Iroquois. It's in Elma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they said, well, we'll just get permission to shoot down to come out to Clinton, and of course, those people are gonna say no. It's Elma, that's not gonna be a mitigation that's gonna happen. But I remember the school district was an issue.
Speaking of schools, do we consult with the school district at all?
Were they listed as an interested party? I don't remember.
No, but for the subdivision plan.
Oh, they always get it, yeah.
It will be sent to them?
But they could be added as an interested party,
Yeah.
not an
Yeah.
involved agency, which there's a difference.
So
The
that
the annual update that I have with the superintendent always focuses on that phase of development. When is it coming online, what impact it's going to have? And a lot of the planning has evolved around that eventually coming online.
Okay, good.
So where is the dividing line for school districts? Is it in the middle of the street? Is it in the middle of the houses? Is it in
Well,
the
it must run-
backyard of the houses?
It must run east-west. That's my guess. It's gotta run east-west through that phase somewhere.
they may have resolved it, maybe, I don't know, but it was somewhere on the southern. It might have been, no, I don't think it was Hall Road. I think it was somewhere up along Worthington, north of Hall Road, because they wanted to capture the Hall Road. I don't know, I don't remember.
So if it's not resolved, somebody, Worthington could be half?
Yeah.
One school
but
district.
I think, well, this is the proposed, so I don't remember. I just think that's something that needs to be looked at. And I know that putting in a exit to Hall Road, they didn't have the property, so that wasn't going to happen. They would have had to go through the wetland again. I don't remember everything about that. And then the road that was going to
There's
go
a
up to
school
Bronx.
district there. That's
It's not
Worthington
there.
Lane. That's the end.
So how they going to handle
That's
the
where the
traffic?
subdivision
I know they want to go
starts.
out to Bowen.
And that's the school district.
Yeah, well, again, that those are questions that go to the,
Something goes into
those are the
here.
questions that go to emergency response and, you know.
Traffic.
Well, if the road goes into there.
Like, this is the road. This road goes all the way out to Bowen right
Right.
now, I'm assuming.
And one thing is the
But like,
draft scope
this is all.
on the
yeah.
website? Should-
This is,
I will.
Yeah, I mean, you may want to
Yeah, so
set up,
what's-
you may want to
so whatever goes
set up
on.
on the website.
like, at the end of this road, if this road
Well,
extends,
a project site
if there's anything in here that's out here.
for this project?
So what's the problem with that?
Yeah, so that, A, you can put the draft and then people can submit comments there if they want to.
Into a different school district.
she may have to work with
Come in
school
like
to
this
get that
district,
to do
come
that,
and
but
get the kids on
that would be
that
clean.
side.
If it's
Something
not
get lost in
resolved.
general email type stuff.
I think that may have been addressed, but maybe not, because they might have been waiting for the next
Mm-hmm.
phase.
Hall Road is the line.
So they moved it south. So they moved the line south.
So that they,
Oh,
then
okay.
it's been resolved.
Yeah, sounds like it, yeah.
But it like juts up into Worthington and it's right on the back, right on the edge of Worthington.
Is it like the southern, southeastern part of that development?
Yeah.
In Iroquois, isn't that?
It was the southeastern part.
Yeah. Where's Worthington Lane on that?
It's up here. So I think it might have been these.
I think it
I
goes-
That line is right,
It goes-
yeah,
it goes
that's
just
exactly
like
what the
this.
line looks like.
as
They
it's
kept the
done
development,
now.
so they kept the development,
On the map he's looking at.
yeah, so they kept the development all within.
I think it was, used to be like this.
Yeah,
There,
And
there's
so
the
they just
line.
took it over
And I think
here?
they just moved it.
yeah, they
You can
moved the
see
line. in.
Worthington where it
Yeah,
ends.
it's been moved.
Yeah,
Okay.
Isn't one of these owned by the school district also?
what,
I
land?
don't know. With the lot.
So,
On Hall?
On Hall, not that I want, they own a piece on,
so this is the one that we're talking about right now, the extension that they want to do?
This would come out.
Brunk, on Brunk.
on Bronx, sorry.
Bronx, yeah.
On
No,
Bronx, yes.
Brunk is up
Yeah.
here.
Bowman.
This is, they run trucks and stuff out here up to Bowen all the time. But there was an exit to Brunk, but because it's in the wetland, they took it out and did they request to have it taken out? Because they didn't want to have to build a bridge or something.
Correct, yeah, the developer didn't want to, so, and the wetlands changed, and there's more wetland up there now than there was.
Right, so we don't have an exit here anymore, so where they can put all the traffic, because these are all new. So they got some going out to Bowen,
Back in.
but to go up Lake Avenue, I don't know how you mitigate that, I can't get out of.
Well, the traffic study's going to have to address that.
Pardon?
The traffic study's going to have to address that.
The traffic study, they also need to look at the intersections any intersection of William, not just like Bowen, they'd have to take a hard look at all of them, all the way down to Transit, but also they need to look at Bowen and Clinton. Because a lot of people, if this goes in, are gonna come down Bowen to Clinton and then take Clinton all the way in the city.
Yeah, and we'll have we will have the ability, well, again, those are the comments that have to be given back to them. William would be a little bit funny because William is under design for major improvements. So they're gonna have to take that into account.
Yeah, but there's still gonna be a 2-lane road. You know?
A lot of it'll be 3. A
Pardon?
lot of it will be 3.
Doesn't matter if the choke points are 2.
Where are
I
they
mean,
gonna
it's-
get the width? They're gonna have to buy everybody's front yards?
That's what's taking so long.
They've already got some of that.
Have they been doing that?
They've been working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it got delayed 'cause they have over 100 takings they need
Don William,
on William.
They're
are they
gonna
gonna,
have-
are they gonna pipe some of that then?
Yeah, it's all gonna be closed drainage, sidewalks,
Okay.
a lot of it 3 lanes, at least up to Lake, I know that for a fact.
Turn signals, turn lanes everywhere.
Right,
I know.
yep, that's all part of the project.
But isn't that out of the scope of this?
It is out of the scope, but when they do the traffic analysis, they can incorporate that into the analysis to say, hey, when this happens, this is what's gonna happen with
Yeah.
traffic.
What's the timeline on that?
Is the design
still-
done?
It's in process, it's been in process for,
I got a letter probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay, so if
Maybe
the
more.
design isn't done, how can they even complete a traffic study if the design's not done?
the
Wishful thinking.
The design is, the final design's not done. They know what they're gonna build, so now they're getting all the takings, and then they can finalize the construction drawings.
Same way we're gonna review a plan that isn't a final plan.
Yeah, we're gonna review a plan that's not even.
It should have been under construction this year or next, but it's probably delayed a year and a half.
I have issues with things like on the plan they have areas called conservation area, and there's some drainage easements, and then that leaves buildable area 75 by 140. We changed our code so there would be 1 million variances for pools, sheds, barbecues, and backyard gazebos, and all these things, and yet they want to come in with lots of it. They look big on paper, but they're not, because of the buffers and conservation areas and yada, yada, yada. They're very, very, very small.
I still get hung up on, we spend all of our time reviewing all this, and they need a huge variance to go to 75-foot lots instead of 100.
Well, they're talking about dropping 50 lots if they just do it as clean as possible. So, they're gonna try, right?
Well, my
Whereas if the variance was first, and they denied it, then it's dead.
well, no, they can come back with bigger lots.
Yeah.
that?
the
They
house
come
is
back
not-
with bigger
Yes,
lots, right. You'd probably still go through the EIS process because of all the other issues.
I can't imagine zoning board of appeals would look at this with at least 100 variances. I'm just winging it, but there's got to be at least 100 that would be too small. Some have more, but not too many. And that anybody in the right mind would go along with that?
They have been shooting things down on the ZBA.
Well, I would hope so.
And that, what you see in front of you may not be what gets to the zoning board. That's part of the EIS process.
I'm just thinking as I'm thinking through reviews. This is from 2019. The wetland law changed such that the DEC is no longer required to stand out in the field with a piece of paper that said, gee, it looks like the edge of the wetland boundary on the paper was 100 feet from the center line of the road, and do it with a tape measure. Now they can use actual conditions. And it may get bigger, it may get smaller. But that's part of the reason the map, and the wetland law, they said we're no longer bound to the wetland maps. And that was because it was impossible for the biologists to stand out there and figure out exactly what the map said. Now they can figure out about what the map said and then go, oh, but the vegetation and all the standards make it bigger or smaller. So,
Well, the only thing I will caution about the wetlands is that when they were in 2019, the wetland stuff they were in the midst of that. And
they were what, I'm sorry?
they were in the midst of dealing with the Corps and the DEC back then.
Right.
And they were quiet for a couple of years. They did resolve all that with both agencies. So DEC may say they're grandfathered because
They might.
They might. I don't know the answer. I've never seen a piece of paper that says one way or the other.
The issue was the permitting, that
Yeah.
whatever permitting they had was expired at the time. So they worked with DEC and the Corps to renew or get a new permit.
So I don't know what the duration of those are. Usually I want to say 4 or 5 years, not more than that, I don't think. So, I mean,
Usually it's a 5-year permit.
yeah, so if they didn't get it, so if they got it finally done in 2021 or 22, that permit would still be valid. But, again, that'll be part of the EIS.
Right.
They'll have to
There we go.
discuss all that.
All that has to be dealt with. There's floodplain on this.
In reality, section 4.5 are the points that we can hone in on and offer those recommendations, right?
4.5.
On your draft,
Oh, on their draft?
that identifies the areas that were deemed impacted.
Yeah, right, that's what we can add whatever we want, and the other agencies will give us stuff to add to as well. I do know I had a conversation with Erie County Sewer last week, it was last week we met, or 2 weeks ago, and there's still some work that has to be done out there for Erie County Sewer. They did do some work when they built phase 1, but there's more to be done for this phase, which supposedly everyone's aware, they were aware of, so. But I know talking to Joe Fiegel from Erie County Sewer, he said they will definitely comment on that.
What are some of the other legal things that we have to be cognizant of?
Really the timeline is the most
Timeline is the big one?
important, yeah. Sticking with that, but we're well within the timeline now, so that's not a concern at this point.
We're not sure about the public hearing yet. We'll know tomorrow, maybe?
It's gonna be afterwards, or else under the meeting minutes, just to clarify whether it's going to be November 5th or the next.
And I did ask prior to everyone arriving whether or not we thought there'd be any input at all from public, because we've had some public hearings where there's been nobody. It's our belief that there will be quite a few people in the audience speaking about it.
I think especially after we get it up on the town website where people can review it, that'll draw more attention to it.
And the timeframes that are there, they can be extended,
Okay?
but the applicant has to agree.
Okay.
Because the one that's tight is, after they scope it and blah, 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 and they write the EIS and they submit it, the law is you got 45 days to review it, comment, and say whether it's complete or not. You can go through and say, no, you're still missing stuff, but then you got to, detail what's missing.
Right.
45 days isn't a lot of time. The document's probably going to be yay thick.
Well, there's an opportunity for the town to hire a consultant to assist with this.
Correct. Yeah, we've already done that. We've notified them of what the fee is, and I don't know if you actually got that check yet or not.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but it didn't come to me, but, that money has to go in escrow,
And who pays for that?
the developer.
It's That's what I thought.
Yeah.
The applicant.
Yeah.
Going back to the public hearing relative to the public's input, we take that input and then we decide whether or not we want to, if there's anything that we hear from the public, that we want to make sure that we incorporate into the scoping. That's another thing that we need to be cognizant of.
Yeah, you can go as far, I mean, the meetings are recorded, so we do have a recording of the meetings. I will tell you, on a lot of large projects in the past, there's been a stenographer sitting here typing away, so that nothing is missed.
And how does that happen? How do we get, if that is going to happen for this one, would we request that?
Yes, yeah, you would request to have that transcript.
And that's picked up at the developer's expense?
These come out of the same escrow account. It's just, I'll tell you, if you're going to get challenged, it's going to be on the process and the procedure. It's not going to be on the technical. I shouldn't say that. I mean, anybody against it can go hire their own technical expert and argue technical points, but it's typically on the process.
Which goes back to the timelines.
A lot of it, yes. Yeah.
Do you, with the fact that everything's being recorded now, do you really need the stenographer?
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the past, it was before this was being done, so as long as these are saved and you can transcribe off of them, go back and make sure you get everything, that's fine.
You know, as long as people
Talk into the mic
talk into the
clearly, yes.
microphone and-
Yeah. Or and then end up submitting their stuff in writing on top of it to help,
Understanding that timeline is so critical, how do we keep an eye on it? I mean, certainly we all have access to this, right? But how do we keep an eye on it?
I have a
sure that we're not
stopwatch.
To make sure we're not missing anything.
It's just, you just have to, when something starts, you just have to calculate what's the due date and it's on someone's calendar.
Now, if you have a good consultant to assist us too, that's one thing that a good consultant can do is lay it out and work with you even between meetings when.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
That was one of the things that Ed talked about, is that in between meetings,
Yes.
there could be some things that don't align perfectly. that
That's
we-
right.
that we
yeah,
have to get-
when we did Tops and Walmart, and we met continuously, it had nothing to do with the planning board schedule. We had meetings all the time. And some of those meetings included the applicant. Some of those meetings included the applicant. You had him at the table, so he heard what was needed, what was going on, and, They're public meetings because you've got, potentially a quorum of people sitting here, but the public doesn't really get to, they can just sit here and listen.
The other thing is, there is a little dirt road that might be Worthington where trucks come in, town trucks have been coming in off of Bowen and doing some topsoil moving or
Yep.
something, I really don't know what. And would we have permission to go look at any point?
Well, you can certainly go to the end of the paved section.
Well, I knew that.
Yeah. I mean,
But I was at the end of the paved section one day and a gentleman came out from where the dirt continues through.
yeah, I mean, they still have an open SWIP on that piece of property that we, they submit at least monthly, if not weekly, monthly right now, SWIP reports.
Yeah.
There's a couple of topsoil
Right.
stockpiles down there.
Right, they're still
Yeah.
making a mess.
And there's two town ditches that cross that property? There's 2 town ditches that cross that property.
Well, you have to have permission to get out the mountain bike and go. Can't just trespass.
Yeah, I see kids coming in and out of there all the time.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
do.
Bikes and stuff, yeah.
I've been back in there doing SWIP stuff with their people, and yeah, you can. It's
A lot of beer
obvious.
cans, too.
Yeah, it's obvious it's being used as a as a hangout area.
That was one of the complaints, I spoke to the guy,
Yeah.
and he said, that's why it's posted and no trespassing, because he said they're always back in there starting fires and doing things. So if I was a kid, You know, we were always in the woods. But it's not all woods, some of it is.
It's open. There's some open land back there.
Pardon?
There's some open brush land back there.
There is,
Yeah.
there's this part,
Yeah.
this part is kind of brushy, but any place where they're going to be cutting any trees down that over 6 inches with our code, any of those areas to be disturbed, all need to be looked at. Any creek crossings,
Well, so there's 2 town ditches that cross the property.
and they have flood maps on them.
Yeah, there's floodplain in there. Yeah.
Mhm, so, any effects there?
You should think about for trees are coming down, what's going to happen for replacement trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same as the project we were just talking about.
Right.
Well,
It's a lot thinner than.
mitigation.
Yeah, it's a lot thinner though in a lot of areas.
Well, yeah, the best ones were the parts that were already built. All those retention basins were in hardwood forested areas that the previous town board and this planning board, they didn't care. I mean, they didn't know. And I could take a strike that. It's not they didn't care. They didn't know. And they didn't understand what the effects could be, and that the amount of runoff that comes off is different. And I don't remember how Speedy's was the same then, but things have tightened up over the years. I worry about traffic though. There's just no place for
Can we just keep in mind that the landscaping portion of our zoning code is primarily focused on multifamily residential and non-residential developments?
right, commercial.
Careful with that.
But under seeker, we can ask for information
Well, it's part of the mitigation.
and part of mitigation.
Yeah, I mean, the EIS ends up with, okay, here's the impacts, here's how we're mitigating it.
We can
Yeah.
ask for a tree survey
Oh, sure, yeah, that you
and,
can, yeah, yeah.
and then the mitigation plan and how they plan to mitigate the loss of
Sure.
whatever vegetation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what you're determining is that there are impacts. And is the mitigation they're proposing sufficient?
And how do you mitigate 195 houses, each of which has at least 2 cars, maybe 4? You know, those are good questions.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean,
How would you do that? And you can't rely on, oh, they're going to fix William Street, because even with a turn lane on William Street from, let's say, Lake or Aurora, wherever, I don't know how many times you get stuck in traffic there, but it backs up. I mean, it backs up from Aurora to, not to Kenora, but pretty darn close to it.
yeah, I mean, the part of the mitigation might be there has to be new signals put in. There might have to be new signals put in. Or there aren't any now. I mean, those answers just aren't known yet.
So what do we expect next from this developer? This document is called Draft Scoping Document, October 6th, but it doesn't really address specifically.
No, what it is outlining the table of contents
Yeah.
of the draft EIS.
So the next document is going to address?
Well,
the
we have,
issues that they-
we take this draft and make it into a final. We give it
Okay.
back to them and say,
Oh,
now go
okay.
write your EIS with all these issues.
And these are all the things we want you to look at.
Correct.
Yeah,
If we go through this and we think that there's other things that are needed, which we clearly already have identified at least
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
right? The tree survey.
Who's going to prepare this then?
The developer. Who's going to prepare what?
The response from the town?
Well, I mean, I'm working on it. I mean, I'll work up
Oh,
a
okay.
draft and, go from there.
We're all of us. everyone in
Yeah,
this-
yeah. I mean, it's all, everybody's input and, it's just taking it all and putting it back into that format and saying, here you go.
As far as
Okay.
who's gonna actually do the editing or the document, I think that's gonna be done through Cindy and Ed and Matt. We're just here to, we'll make sure that we give our input to what's here, and then they'll take it and do what they gotta do.
So they get that back.
So we should probably be prepared to do this at the next meeting.
I was gonna say, if the next, it's 2 weeks, if you can come back with some comments and say, this is what,
Okay.
that's good, then we can
All
start
right.
incorporating that.
all those things that you want them to
Yeah.
consider and look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, we look through this thing,
Okay.
in detail and see if there's things that pop into your head. And we'll put them as the last agenda item for the next meeting, so we, listen to whatever cases we have, and then we dismiss, or everyone leaves, and then we talk about this again.
Be a good idea to review minutes, the document of that, part two that we went through, all of the items, and we described what those issues were that led to that positive declaration recommendation. We build off of that. Right? Because, again, they're focusing on the three, the impact on the land, the flooding, and the transportation. But there's snippets all throughout that sheet that we went through, all kinds of.
Does everyone have,
Great.
could you email everyone a copy of the
So
resolution?
that's my mandate, is to say, you tell me what resources you would like. The 2019 resolution with the COSDEC, if it's drawings, I don't have access to them, hopefully Matt will have those, but we can have them scanned in, we can have them sent. Rebecca has her own copy. The rest are amazing.
I don't know where mine is.
Whatever documents you're looking for, let me know, and that's what I'm going to get to everyone, so that you're able to come to the November 5th meeting and say, this is what I identified. And then at the, possibly then the 19th meeting, when we have the public come, then they have other items that then we summarize and are put into that document and sent back to the applicant.
Plus,
Yeah, I think that's
plus
probably
whatever we
the
hear
start.
back from the other agencies.
Yes.
But that's definitely the start, the resolution with the pause deck and the drawings. And if, I mean, even just put on the website,
Can you get us those electronically for
Yeah.
everyone
What,
that
the-
doesn't have mine?
Drawings?
yeah.
Like, Becky, okay.
Yeah, large drawings I can scan in to make them a PDF, that's not.
Well, I'm looking through
The
this,
answer is yes.
I'm looking through this, I'm not even sure how many lots there are, because I see 195 listed somewhere.
Yeah.
Those 190 some.
195 or so on that.
Yeah,
They're all numbered.
They are, there's 195, the 100 numbers were up over there somewhere, but when you go through it,
I thought I saw 191 somewhere else.
so in the environmental assessment form, if I don't agree where they say, no, those are where I can bring up things that I can't believe they said no.
Great.
Okay.
Or if you want a paper copy and you want to red circle it and make your notes and give them to me, or, whatever, just so that all that information is coming to us so that we're able to put it all into that finals.
195.
Yeah, I see 195.
it's gonna be important that we keep the records on everything we do, because when there's a challenge, that's all gotta be foiled and everything else.
Well,
You know,
I mean, it's
it's,
$80 million project.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And it could be either way. At the end of the day, it ends up getting approved with modifications, then you're gonna get challenges from
Public.
the other side.
yep.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think it's important that everyone on board at the time can really go through everything. This is a very large addition to the town. It's the first subdivision we've had since the one on Wayne Street that went from about 50 lots down to about 40 something when the lot sizes changed. Wayne Street just
Field Street?
east of Bowen.
It's the Lancaster Country Club.
The one on the
One
north
that
side.
back up.
Field Street. Field Street.
Yeah, Field Stream, it started off at 50 some odd lots.
Yep.
And then we ended up with the change of the lot size and it was reduced to 40. And that in itself reduced some of the impact because it's
Sure.
gone from 200 cars a day to 195 or whatever. But, these things, I live on Lake Avenue, and I can't get out of my driveway.
No, I don't know, did Summerfield Farms go through an EIS?
That was before me, so I don't know. You did? Okay.
You know, Pleasant Meadows.
Pleasant Meadows did, I know that. Summerfield did not.
Using that same math, you're down, you lose
So-
40, roughly 40 lots on that.
I would say about 40 lots of go. And that, because there's some lots on here that, to me, they meet the old code of the area, but by the time you cut off the back where they have just happened to not continue the dotted line, the buffer zone, for example, there's a couple spots where it looks like you could fit a house on there, but if you really look where they identified the wetland buffer, kind of like, they just didn't put the line in. So it looks buildable, but the buffer goes through the house, and you can't.
Should we ask for someone to redraw that map for us? I mean, is that something we should?
I think it was either in error or in, let's see how good these reviewers really are. I mean, I've gone through a lot of it, and sometimes it was just a mistake. When they had just left out a line, whoever was drawing this up at GPI, wow, your eyes go funny. So, but there's a few places I look at it. It looks like a big lot, but
You're gonna put a tiny house.
yeah, tiny houses, there you
It's
go.
all the rage.
Big lot, tiny house.
Container house.
Yurt.
I mean, we're gonna have people already in the subdivision that have been there long enough now between their house being finished and this coming in. If I were them, I'd be upset even though they knew or should have known.
We're gonna hear that, we're gonna definitely hear
We're gonna
those
hear that.
comments. I moved here because it was nice and quiet, and you had nothing back there.
Years back, they had signs on their front lawn.
I mean, the folks on, well, there's no house on coming up to Bronx anymore. There's no road coming out. So we heard a lot from information from the Bussy lot at one time about flooding. They do get flooded there quite regularly.
Ed, is there anything else from engineering that we need to be thinking about here? on this?
No, I mean, you know, from an engineering perspective, we're not gonna be down into the weeds at this point. But, you know, if we end up leading the charge on the review and we need specialists, we'll bring them in as needed, which is fine. That-
Oh, we haven't even determined that yet, right? If we're going to be doing it, or if planning, or if town board's going to be doing it?
Well, I say I spent me as town engineer. I would assume that if it's not the planning board, I'll be consulting with the town board. But I just don't,
Cindy, have we determined if we're going to be doing the seeker, if town, or town board's going to be doing?
I would say by Monday night, we'll know.
We'll know that also, yeah. Because that's still up in the air. Emily, from a legal perspective, is there something else that we're missing or something we need to talk about on this?
No, I think we covered everything for this plan.
Matt, from a building perspective?
Lot sizes,
Oh, yeah. Definitively.
it's, you know, it's the zoning part of it, yeah, there's, again, you know, right now, we're just dealing with this scope. We have to now put the nuts and pieces back into that document, so on that final document, is the mitigation plan, and the impacts to the environment.
Well, I think we have a pretty good idea of what is going to be expected from us, if it's expected.
Well, and I'll just say, like, on a daily basis, if something comes to your mind and you have a question, or you think that some document that is here at the town hall is beneficial to you, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll
Okay. Is there anything else on this project or any other items that anybody would like to discuss? No? Well, then I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah? We've been out of here a lot quicker when we were, three cases.
Yes.
I have to say,
Well, too bad.
No, as you said, it's a pretty important project.
Yeah, you know what?
Important to the town.
That,
South side